Hey y'all, it's your girl Jasmeen, owner of House of Chiron, Astrology and Reiki, and I make the language of astrology digestible for all of y'all. So not only am I your favorite professional astrologer, yes, I am also your Reiki master, your mental health professional, your community activist, all of the things. So with that being said, I use Western whole sign astrology for all of my interpretations and my general readings, as well as the ones that I give here on this platform. And so with that being said, if you are new to my channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you won't miss me uploading anything like these videos that I do every month. I do a December forecast and I do a video for the new moon and the full moon. And I have like little shorts in between. So I have a lot of content that comes out all month long. Okay. So make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can catch all of that information. All right. So for those who are asking, yes, I do readings. Yes, I am still performing Reiki. Yes, I can do distant Reiki. So that means you can get your Reiki session done virtually. I can't speak right now. Okay, so you can find all of that information by hitting the description box below and navigating your way over to my website, booking your appointments, so on and so forth. Okay, now with that being said, if you are returning to my channel, welcome back, welcome in. How you doing? How you been? I hope the month of November treated you well. Happy December to everyone. Okay, now with that, I'm going to just move right on into this new energy. I'm not going to waste your time. We're going to get into what we came here for, talking about this December forecast. All right, so starting off at the very beginning of the month, we have Mercury entering into Capricorn. So this is happening on December 1st. Like, it wastes no time. So moving from Sagittarius energy into Capricorn energy is very different. So from December 1st until December 22nd, we will have Mercury transiting Capricorn. Now, what does this look like? First and foremost, Mercury makes its entry into Capricorn so it can get ready to go retrograde back into Sagittarius this month. Let's just start there. And it's marking an influential phase that's going to extend for the majority of December. Now, Mercury is going to be aligning with those energies of Saturn, right? Because Saturn rules or governs Capricorn. And so this shift that's happening, you can feel it almost instantly because that Capricorn Sagittarian energy is very thick, I guess you can say. And so this is going to like foster mindsets that are characterized by discipline and focus on our goals, right? Because we just came from the Sagittarius energy where Mercury and Sagittarius is focused on the bigger picture, the vision, and, you know, being optimistic and seeing all the many possibilities. Whereas Capricorn is like, hey, let's ground that. Let's be practical. Yes, this is the vision, but how do we get there? What are the steps? How do we make this long term? How do we ground that energy and to make it into something tangible that we can have in reality? Okay, so the communication is going to be taken on a more reserved tone, so to speak, when it comes to Mercury being in Capricorn. So this might have individuals keeping their ideas and their aspirations to themselves, you know, making sure that your long-term plans can be developed in that way, or that if you are sharing it, you're sharing it with the person or the people or, you know, those individuals or influential people in your life that are going to be there with you for the long term, right? Because Mercury and Capricorn, they just don't talk just for the sake of being heard. They talk because they got something to say. And so that's kind of the energy that's going to be the focus for the first 20 or so days of this month. Now, looking ahead, you know, Mercury is going to be going retrograde in Capricorn, like I said, in just a couple of weeks. So eventually is going to make its way back to 22 degrees in Sagittarius, where it will then engage in a square with Neptune again. Okay, so it made that square to Neptune the first time while it was transiting through Sagittarius. Now it's going to make a square to Neptune a second time and a third time, excuse me, while it is retrograding into Sagittarius. So things are going to be resurfacing, you know, depending on where Sagittarius is in your chart. So those themes and things that have kind of made their way through during that time, the first transit through Sagittarius are going to be resurfacing. So this transitional period suggests that during the Mercury's initial transit in Sagittarius, the planning and the ideas and whatnot, you're going to have a re-envision of that, right? So the grand plans that you may have for the upcoming year for 2024, you're going to have to re-envision that, or something's going to have to be reworked, right? So that way, when it moves back into Capricorn, you can start making those things tangible. Now, with Mercury being in its detriment while it's in Sagittarius and forming a square to Neptune, there's going to be a lack of clarity, right? Let's just say what it is. You're not going to be seeing things clearly. You might not even be able to communicate things clearly. Misinterpretations, delusion, sometimes being delusional is where it's supposed to be. Most people enjoy being delusional. Some people don't, right? It is what it is. Just depends on the vibe. Now, this is going to be also a possibility where essential details could be overlooked, where you might not really see things that you need to see in order to make things happen, in order to put certain plans in place, commitments that you have made. You might be overextending yourself, right? Because Jupiter is the ruler of Sagittarius, right? Jupiter is currently in Taurus. So you might be overextending yourself, might be overextending your finances, things like that. Not seeing things for what they really are, not being able to make the plans. And it's like a heck of a time to have that going on while it's, the holiday season. Where you're, spending more money than you thought than you knew that you had, right? It's like, oh, I thought I had more, or, oh, I forgot I paid that bill, or if you have these plans and so on and so forth, it's just not necessarily panning out the way that you desire it to, because you kind of miss some steps. Okay. Now, Mercury's transit through the sign of Capricorn, once it re-enters into Capricorn, it's going to help us get that grounding that we need. But while it's returning in Sagittarius, a more realistic perspective is going to be asking to emerge. So the shift is really enabling us to kind of like temper down our expectations and undertake necessary revisions to our plans, right? Aligning our visions with a grounded and practical approach. Okay. Now, moving on, we have Venus entering into Scorpio. This happens on December 4th until December 29th. And on December 4th, Venus, it is the planet of, peace and harmony, so to speak. And so it's gracefully transitioning from Libra, its home sign, and moving into challenging territory of Scorpio. So this phase, is extended until the end of the year, the end of the month, until December 29th. And so Venus is going to be in its detriment while it's in Scorpio. It's under the rulership of Mars, right? So think of it that way. And this planet, Mars is associated with aggression and division. So there might be some challenges that come up when it comes to like our relationships and our finances. These are the things that Venus rule. And so in Scorpio, Venus assimilates to the depth and passion that is inherent in that fixed water sign. So it intensifies the sentiments in romantic connections. And sometimes when those energies are not matched, it can create division, right? So the atmosphere becomes more brooding and more intense, and potentially triggering Scorpio energies like possessiveness or envy in our relationship. So just kind of be aware of that as well. Now, on a positive note, there is a allure to, things that draw us, in. So things that we are magnetically kind of like, drawn to, in our partners. So this could like entice our relationships towards things that are new and mysterious. If we're not in relationship, then it could bring in new and mysterious connections during this time, inviting us to kind of like dive deep into emotional exploration or even just desire and, sensuality and sexuality. So the journey through Scorpio is going to have its highs and lows like any, transit. And Venus, during the time that it is in Scorpio, is going to be opposing Jupiter that's in Taurus. So this might be some challenges, right? Because it when it comes to Jupiter, it's kind of hard to say, oh, it's going to be, great, because it's a great benefic, right? And these are two benefic energies, right? Venus and Jupiter, but they're going to be clashing because they're in this opposition, which is about strain. And there's going to be a possibility that we are doing things over the top, right? It's indicating excessive. It's giving excessiveness. It's giving tone it down. It's Christmas, we understand, but keep it cool, right? It's giving, the absolute most. And so subsequently, because we might be excessive on some things, whether it's in finances, relationships, whatever, a confrontation that could possibly come through because Uranus is here, right? Uranus is also in Taurus, and that is intensifying that desire for excitement in relationships, and, wanting to kind of break free and wanting to try something new and innovative and, exciting. And so, we could be having some, unexpected twists in our partnerships or our financial matters because of that Uranus energy also. All right. So moving on, we have Neptune stationing direct at 24 degrees Pisces on December 6th until July 2nd. It will be remaining moving forward. Okay. And so this is going to be the time that Neptune is awakening from its retrograde slumber, right? And it is going to be moving forward up until next summer. And it's in its native sign, it's in Pisces. So it's intensifying, I guess, and amplifying the sensitivity. It's heightening our receptivity during this time also. And so Neptune's direct motion is going to be kind of like helping us take in those intuition and insight and our sensitivities that have been strengthened over this time that it was retrograde is going to be taken and putting into forward motion. Okay. Now, the direct motion is going to kind of coincide with a square with the sun and Mars that are both in Sagittarius. Okay, so this is bringing in a new phase of potential disorientation, I guess you can say. And I would advise against any any, I guess you can say radical beliefs or radical actions, I guess you can say, because of that square energy and kind of like asserting your will or asserting your authority or pushing your own agenda in a like authoritative way, I guess you can say. So yeah, that's something to kind of like keep in mind. Now, it's also going to be prompting a realignment with our spiritual priorities, placing a focus on compassion, and intuition, and creativity, all beautiful things. Now, Neptune resumes its forward trajectory, and that energy is going to be harmonizing to kind of create an environment that's conducive to exploring and harnessing creative potential. So it's going to be really good energy if you're working on something that is like, the creative projects, on and so forth. Now, also this period is going to offer a unique opportunity to kind of like tap into our imagination, the imaginative resources, serving as a valuable tool for addressing challenges, resolving issues, and advancing ongoing projects. Things could be dissolving that have been, perplexing us during this time. And the conclusion of this Neptune retrograde energy it's coming during a pivotal moment of reassessment, unveiling a profound truth and allowing moments of like clarity to kind of like come through the veils that have been, hidden behind our perceptions, I guess you can say. Okay, so moving forward, I'm going to go over this new moon really briefly because we're going to do a deep dive into it later on this month, closer to the time. So next week, make sure you tune in because we're going to have the new moon at 20 degrees Sagittarius on December 12th. So I'm going to be putting this video out around that time, if not earlier. And so the new moon is going to illuminate, but you're not going to see it because it's a new moon in the sky at 5:31 p.m. Central Time. Okay, so this is going to be in the sign of Sagittarius. So it's very spirited, right? And it's kind of like casting its influence, from early December. So we can probably start feeling this energy around December 7th or 8th until December 17th or 18th, right? So you'll be feeling this energy now, and it's going to be kind of like an infusion with being dynamic and adventurous, but also because it's collaborating with Mars, this is also bringing in the cosmic energy of like fiery passion. Okay, so kind of keep that in mind because Mars is fire planet, fire sign Sagittarius. So that's another thing. Now, despite the potential for Mars to like incite tense emotions and trigger aggression, is going to be dancing with the Sagittarius new moon and taking a transformative direction, right? So it's going to be channeling qualities such as motivation and confidence and energizing forces and things like that. So, we can take this as a way to see it from like the lower octave of it being aggressive and, all that good stuff, or we can take the higher octave and see it from like a healing perspective, right? So the healing vibrations of the Sagittarius new moon, they can kind of come in and wash over us. Now, the collaborative interplay that's happening with Mars is going to accelerate the journey of recovery that we need, right? And rediscovery of our inner strength, and facilitating like that progress that we need on our individual healing path, right? Also helping us with, understanding our sovereignty and individuality and all those things. And so this lunar phase is going to be providing a favorable approach to things, right? Centering healing, endeavoring to kind of like harmony and balance within, right? Making us find that and be able to attain that. And, the holiday season is approaching. And so often this season is accompanied by stress, leveraging, all of the things. And then we have the new moon coming and then the new year's here. So it's like sowing these seeds with this new moon of like calm and equilibrium and healing. And then you can reflect on your aspirations as we move forward, right? Into the weeks ahead, because we're going to have the winter solstice. And it's a wonderful time for you to do your vision boards during the winter solstice. So anywho, yeah, so utilizing this alignment right now to kind of manifest tranquility and balance in our lives, especially during the festivities that we're going to be embarking on soon. All right, so that being said, we have Mars. We have Mercury, Mercury stationing retrograde at 8 degrees Capricorn. This happens December 13th, and it will remain retrograde until January 1st, okay, of 2024. So with Mercury being retrograde in Capricorn, like I mentioned previously, is going to be diving back into Sagittarius all the way until the 22nd degree of Sagittarius. And so this retrograde kind of intertwines with the connection of Jupiter, Mars, Neptune. Okay. So it invites contemplation of like, being profound and going inward and asking yourself questions and, shifting from the Sagittarius to Capricorn energy, transitioning so that way you can kind of reevaluate and re-envision the plans that you have set out to, create and whatnot. So, contemplation is necessary during this time. I always say retrogrades, especially a Mercury retrograde, is about reviewing, revising, revamping, resting, all of those things. So keep that in mind. Now, it's also a great importance for us to be meticulous and meticulous in our reflection, but also have some type of strategic planning, right? Because we can, like I mentioned, we can overlook the details that are necessary. So that's that. Now, the great messenger, right? That's Mercury. The great messenger is overseeing the communication, right? So with it being in retrograde, communication is going to be a little off. During this time, I would say get your cars checked, your maintenance done, get your tires fixed, go upgrade your phone if that's what you need to do beforehand. Definitely don't make any large purchases during the Mercury retrograde for electronics. That's for a fact. But go get it fixed if it's broken, like that screen, if you got it cracked or something like that. Those type of things. Make sure you take care of that type of business, because Mercury rules all sorts of communication, all types of communication and correspondence, including phones and social media, so on and so forth. Okay. Now, that being said, Mercury retrogrades tend to like cloud our thoughts, and it induces a cognitive disarray, I guess you can say, right? So cognitively, we might not be understanding things, especially because once it enters into Sagittarius, it's going to be squaring off with Neptune again, like I mentioned. So, it's going to be a little challenging. It's important that we have purposeful and organized approaches in things, because that's going to be highly imperative, because Mercury retrograde is going to be advocating for cautious progression, right? Move forward with caution. Make sure that you are checking things, right? Travel plans, make sure you're double checking things, tickets, and any correspondence, whether it's, a contract. It's probably not ideal to sign a contract during Mercury retrograde. It just, it also just depends on your chart and things like that, and also the situation. So that, but it's not advised to do something brand spanking new during the Mercury retrograde when it deals with like contracts, because you might not be seeing something clearly and you might have to reconcile it later. Okay. So that's what I have for this Mercury retrograde for the most part. Just focus your attention on your inner knowing and embrace your communication in a subtle form. Just kind of like pay attention to your dreams and synchronicities, look out for the angel numbers and see what the messages are being, or what's calling you, what they're trying to call you to, so kind of like navigate this with heightened awareness, and receptivity, because during the time that it squares off with Neptune is going to be direct. So keep that in mind. You might be receiving divine messages. All right. Now, moving on, we have the sun entering into Capricorn, and this also sparks the winter solstice. So like I said, it's a wonderful time to do your vision boards. I always do our vision boards here in my house on December 21st. And I can tell you, my vision board is behind me. I don't think you can see, it's like right there. It's my vision board. And I can say that a lot of what I have put on that board has come to pass. I started doing vision boards with my cousin, Ashton. She's the owner of Women Who Work. Go check her out if you have not. But I started doing them with her like, I don't know, 7, 8 years ago. And it just changed my life. But then I incorporated like doing it on the winter solstice and started doing like my research as to why it's better to do it on the winter solstice, and the energies aligning. So that's my little tidbit for y'all. So now the winter solstice, it happens as soon as the sun enters into Capricorn, December 21st until January January 20th is going to be the Capricorn season. So happy solar return to all of you Capricorns out there. And winter solstice is the commencement of Capricorn season, right? Now, beyond Capricorn's known attributes of determination and hard work, this transit is going to be encouraging introspection, focusing on long-term goals and purpose, the larger life goals, the spiritual facets of this cardinal earth energy that Capricorn has. So at the same time, the arrival of the December winter solstice adds this kind of like energy that's symbolizing a return to the light of the northern hemisphere, reaching the peak of illumination in the southern hemisphere, right? So kind of keep that in mind. Now, regardless of where you are located globally, you can embrace the solstice as an opportunity to honor the radiant light within you, right? Like it's all about that inner work this December. So your inner light, maybe I should label the video that it's all about that inner work this December. I think I'm going to do that. Anywho, so your inner light is the unique energy, what was I saying? The unique energy that you contribute to the world, that you give to the world, right? That's your light that you provide, right? That sun energy. So take the time to kind of like get yourself acquainted to your inner light and, shine your light bright, but also go in and have some introspective times and, just kind of chill out with you. Okay. Now it's going to be helping you foster growth and nurture it and, radiate it outwardly to the world when it's time. So keep that in mind. Now, also, as far as like the solstice go, the energy is, revitalizing, and it kind of like curates that type of quality. So it is believed to elevate the energy grid in the state of our higher consciousness during the winter solstice. So you can tap inward in that way. And so the solstice is really inviting us also to immerse ourselves in nature and absorb the vibrations that this beautiful place that we can call home offers us. Now, as that, so connect with your profound energy that you have inwardly and outwardly, and allow it to transform you, right? All right, now moving forward, we have Mercury re-entering into Sagittarius. So really briefly, this happens on December 23rd until January 13th. And Mercury during this retrograde period, like I said, it goes back into Sagittarius. It's going to be squaring Neptune. So there might be some issues that might come up with communication, having to rethink and revise certain plans. The phase may bring moments of confusion. It's advisable to delay any important decisions, so that way you can ensure that you have a clear understanding before you proceed. Okay. Now, initiating anything new during the retrograde motion and and whatnot isn't, like I said, it's not advisable. But initiating the retrograde motion in Capricorn, Mercury is going to be retracing those steps back into Sagittarius. So kind of keep that in mind. What energy is it, like, long term or bigger picture? So just kind of keep in mind that anything that you try and implement during the Capricorn time, you might have to go back and review the steps, right? Or the bigger picture of it. Okay. Now, moving forward, we have this full moon that happens at 4 degrees Cancer on December 26th. So it's the day after, Christmas, if you celebrate Christmas. And, it's marking, the lunar event is marking the last full moon of this year. Okay. And so it's emotional. It's in Cancer. It's at home. It graces us from the compassionate and nurturing home sign of Cancer. And so it's going to be intense. It's going to intensify our connections with our loved ones, which is great because, we might be with our loved ones during this time. It's going to be bringing in a sense of closeness or increased awareness of, people who are not here. So it might be an emotional holiday season for a lot of us, especially with this full moon. So especially for those who are departed, our departed loved ones, right? And just kind of like, giving honor and thanks to our ancestors who are not here with us in the physical world, but they're here with us in the spiritual world, and protecting us and guiding us and whatnot. So this lunar phase may bring in an enhanced sense of I guess our senses, right? And so as the veil between the realms are kind of like influenced under this Cancer full moon, our senses are going to become heightened. Pay attention to your dreams during this time, especially if you are a Leo rising. Pay attention to your dreams because Cancer is going to be in your 12th house, and this moon is illuminating your 12th house, which is your dream house, okay? And also the house of the ancestors. Okay, and healing and spirituality. So pay attention, especially those who are Leo rising. But we'll get into that when I go into the readings during the during the full moon in Cancer video that happens later on this month. All right, so this is going to be, making us particularly sensitive to the energies that are surrounding us. So just make sure that you are surrounded with people that you can truly feel safe with, right? Because Cancer is all about safety and security. Okay. So it becomes crucial to safeguard our energetic well-being and prioritize moments for recharging, especially under the influence of this full moon. And given that it's, it's a Cancerian influence, seeking solace near water can also help you with healing or, help you with grounding, ironically. All right. So now also Saturn is going to be making a play, right? So with this moon being opposite Capricorn, and we have this energy happening where it's like, okay, Mercury is there in Capricorn, it's getting ready to dip back into Sagittarius, or I think it already has. No, yeah, it already has like dipped back into Sagittarius. So like that Sagittarius, that Capricorn Saturn energy is still going to be kind of like making a play here with the full moon. And so it's going to be in the sign of, let me see, Saturn is in Pisces. So it's making that connection in, with Saturn being in Pisces, water sign, it's making a connection with the full moon that's in Cancer also. So just kind of like keep that in mind. It's making a significant role during this time. Now it's going to be presenting some obstacles, right? So, or it could present some obstacles, but for the most part, I think that Saturn's presence is going to be more poised to assist and guide us, right? Ground us in the present moment instead of like creating blockages, unless, it's ill aspected in our charts a different way, then that's a whole different story. And you got to get a whole reading for that. But for the most part, collectively, is going to be grounding us in the present moment. And so Saturn is going to be encouraging us to kind of like be an appreciation for the beauty that we have, the lessons that we have learned, and that we have overcome, because Saturn does that. It's the planet of karma, right? So I got two more things to discuss and we're done. All right. Venus is moving into Sagittarius December 29th until January 23rd of 2024. And so Venus is going to be moving from that intense energy of Scorpio, and it's going to be transiting into the expansive realm of Sagittarius. And with that, it's like a noticeable shift in energy, right? When it comes to Venus, it's going to be like, okay, what flight can I take? Feeling more optimistic and jolly, emerging from the challenges that, Scorpio put Venus in the position of, right? Venus and Sagittarius kind of like introduces the optimistic influence in both relationships as well as financial situations. So a lot of us could be getting a paycheck during this day. You know, hey, I'm here for it. Bring me the money. It is what it is. So now the desire to have freedom and expansive experiences and adventures and, you know, tapping into your own sovereignty is going to become more profound. You're going to be recognizing that feeling a lot more. You're going to be having a thirst for philosophical and spiritual connections. So pay attention to that too. This is a great time for you to dive into new philosophies, pick up a book, learn something, you know, that is completely different, than what you have experienced. Now, despite the liberated energy of Sagittarius, there's going to be a brief square with Saturn that's in Pisces, right? So this is going to be encouraging us to be responsible and also consider our finances as well as our relational situations during this transit. So embrace that liberating vibe of Venus and Sagittarius, but also consider planning, you know, enjoying or getting away and fully immersing yourself and rejuvenating during this time, but also doing things practically and responsibly. Okay. Remember, I told you about how it is with the money and whatnot during this time. So keep that in mind. All right. So last but not least, we're going out with a bang, y'all. The 2023 is wrapping up and we're moving into 2024 with Jupiter stationing direct at 6 degrees in Sagittarius on December 30th, where it will remain direct until May 25th, where it will then move into Gemini. Okay. So this is concluding the year on an optimistic note. That's what I'm going to say. Jupiter is going to be moving forward. You know, abundance and opportunities have been kind of like happening behind the scenes. Maybe you've been working on some things and it just hasn't had the forward movement that you wanted it to have. And so now, here we go. Okay. Taurus, it moves into forward motion at 5 degrees Taurus, right? And, you know, Taurus is all about relationships and money for the most part, right? It's ruled by Venus. And so, you know, it's maintaining this direct movement in this sign. So that way we can have some forward movement in our finances and our relationships, art, beauty, music, other things, right? Our tastes and our diets. That's all ruled by like that Taurus and Venus energy. So is aligning with, you know, the year's conclusion, and it's bringing in a transformative shift in our perspective, also in, you know, other circumstances that we may have going on in our life, preferably in that Taurus ruled area of your chart. Also, it could be like, you know, it's nearing like the culmination of its journey in Taurus, right? So this is the last 5 months that we're going to have Jupiter in Taurus for another 12 years or so. So Jupiter is going to be laying the groundwork for the abundant blessings and the external growth that is going to be peaking, you know, during April of 2024, because there's going to be a rare alignment that's happening with Jupiter and Uranus in the fixed earth sign, right? So kind of keep that in mind. An occurrence that, you know, won't be happening, like I said, for another 12 years. So just kind of keep that in mind, that it's kind of gearing us up for this rare occurrence is happening, and that happens in April of 2024. And so the upcoming months is going to be providing like this auspicious window where you can kind of see a little peek of what's coming, right? You know, it's harnessing and maximizing this beneficial energy before Jupiter transitions into Gemini. That happens May 25th. Okay. So there you have it. Now, in my next videos, I will be having more insight into the moons, right? So in this video, I go over all of the energy for the month. Now in my new moon video, I will go over just the new moon energy, and I will give readings for all 12 signs. So you'll know exactly what is coming for you with that new moon. I will do the same with the full moon reading at the end of the month as well. So that being said, let's go ahead and roll our astro dice, okay, and see what the month has in store for us. But before I do that, I almost forgot my announcements. Y'all almost got me. So real quick announcements. So the House of Chiron merch is still available. Go ahead and hit that description box so you can order yours for Christmas season. We have hoodies, hats, beanies, dad hats. We have bucket hats. We have t-shirts. We have tote bags, all the things, right? Go get yours. House of Chiron, Astro and Afros, cosmically locked and it's cute stuff. So go look at it. Reasonably priced too. Just saying. All right, great, a great gift, a great economic aware gift for the holidays for anyone that is astrologically inclined in your family or in your life. Okay. Also, readings are still open. So the readings have reopened. I have now reset them to where I do a certain amount per month. So first come, first serve. I think we sold out of the 30-minute readings last month. I'm not sure, but either way, they are open. So go ahead and book your readings. Go down description box or just navigate over to my website and you can book your readings, 30-minute or 60-minute. Also, the Reiki is still available and I can do distant Reiki. For those who don't know, I am master level Reiki. So I can do distant, you can do virtual, you will still get the energy, you will still feel it. I have testimony to prove it. Okay, so that being said, I think that's all the announcements that I have. So now let's get into our Astro Dice, shall we? All right, so I think we rolled something like this last month. We have the North Node in Virgo in the 10th house. So we are reaching new heights when it comes to like our career and our social status and our public image, as well as the responsibilities that we have to the world, you know, over this coming month. So it's like aligning us with everything, our practical vision and plans that we have for our futures. It has a lot to do with the responsibilities that we have. It has a lot to do with, you know, the career that we want or whatever the case may be, or even just, you know, relationship wise, because the 10th house is your social status and your social status can change because of marriage or relationship or, you know, financial, just many different things. But I can definitely see that we're going to be shifting and changing that energy over the next month, or just kind of like getting in alignment, leading towards that purpose and that plan to kind of like create it for ourselves, in figuring out like the steps and the details that are accompanied or that needs to be accompanied with, you know, achieving these things. Now, since we rolled Virgo, it's all about paying attention to the details and also making sure that we are considering our daily practices in achieving our goals, right? And going after our destiny. Okay. So, you know, just kind of keep that in mind when you are moving through this December. Don't forget to do your vision board or at least write your intentions out for the winter solstice on December 21st. Maybe I'll go live and y'all can do it with me during that time. I don't know. We'll see. I think that'd be a great idea. Have less like a virtual party. It's a good idea. It just came up, so maybe I should do it. Anywho, I hope y'all have a wonderful month of December. Happy holidays to everyone. Make sure that you hit the description box. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to my channel if you are new, of course. Make sure that you still share it if you ain't new. Always comment. I love talking to you all and, you know, hearing how these insights are assisting you. So leave me a comment so we can chit chat a little bit. I am a Gemini. I do like to talk clearly because I still ain't said bye. All right. So with that being said, now I'm saying bye.